Hey,
We're
Meghan
good.
Patrick, how you doing? It's a pleasure.
Hi. Yeah, you too.
Where have I caught you here today?
I'm at home in Nashville at our house.
Because you were
Yep.
at the Calgary Stampede, and then you were at Country Thunder in Saskatchewan, and then you're coming
Yep.
back to Edmonton in August. So you've been kind of bouncing around
Yes.
like crazy.
Yeah, it's been awesome. This week is another big week too. I'm actually super excited. I'm heading back to Newfoundland for the first time in like probably almost 10 years. Like the last time I played there was with my bluegrass band. So we're playing the George Street Festival, and I absolutely love the East Coast. So plan to just eat my weight in like seafood and lobster and play some music.
Is there a difference between West Coast fans and like other parts of Canada? Like, do they get a little bit more crazy, or is it kind of all the same once you start playing?
Um, I mean, I don't know. Like it's interesting because like I don't get the opportunity to play out east as much just because there's just not as many like festivals and like tours going through there. So I've had more time with like West Coast fans, I guess. But I do feel like sometimes because the East Coast doesn't get as many like festivals and shows, sometimes they can be a little bit rowdier because like when they do have something, it's like the thing. And I mean, East Coasters, Newfies, they like to drink and party, so they definitely get pretty rowdy.
Well, we have a fair share of them here in Alberta, so both of your shows here, you're gonna hear them for sure, and they're
Oh,
amazing.
I love
They're
it.
always so
Well,
fun.
my guitar player in the past, Chad Murphy, he's a Newfie. He's my favorite Newfie. So I love got a lot of love for the Newfies.
I love that. Well, congratulations. You've had just like a huge year. You get to kick it off with being engaged, and then you have these singles that are doing, and you're finally touring around. And then the CCMAs come knocking with a couple of nominations. Where do you want to start?
Yeah.
Do we start at the beginning and get engaged, or what?
Sure. Actually, speaking of that, I actually just picked up my wedding dress today. So
Very
it's
nice.
getting very real. I'm really excited though. We've really kind of started getting rolling on the wedding planning, and it has been tough because Mitchell, our schedules are so crazy right now with touring. I mean, we're about to go 2 weeks without seeing each other again. So it's been a little bit tough to like have trying to, walk the line when we do have time together. Sometimes we just want to like hang out and not do anything. But I'm like, okay, but we do kind of need to do some wedding planning stuff. So, but I was like, hey, you know what? It's all right. It's hard that we're being apart so much right now, but hey, we've got forever, so it's all good.
I mean, I can't imagine with working around one schedule, let alone two schedules of people who are
Yeah.
just working so hard. Do you guys like have kind of like a relationship rule where you only take 2 weeks off and then come back together, or is it kind of like, hey, we're out of the floodgates here. Let's just kind of see what happens and play it by
Yeah,
ear.
we've never really like established a rule. It's just kind of like we both, I think that was one of the things we really loved and respected about each other when we first met is that it was just understood that like we are both very driven in our careers, and it's really important. We're both very hardworking and very focused on that. And I think because we are both that way, that's why it works. So it's kind of like we both kind of look at it like gotta make hay while the sun shines. And like it feels like, especially this year, for me not being able to play in Canada for like 2 years almost with the pandemic and everything, I want to take every opportunity to get back to Canada and see those fans and be able to play there. And for him, he's getting ready to put out a record. He's on the Luke Bryan tour. So we both just have a ton of amazing opportunities coming our way right now. And I think our only rule is like, hey, you take everything you can get, and I'll see you when I see you.
I mean, that is what it is, right? It's just the way that you got to move forward. And when it comes
Yeah.
to wedding planning, I just got engaged back in August, and
Oh,
here,
congrats.
thank you. So when people ask me how the wedding planning's going, I go, it's good, it's good. And then my fiance Sid looks at me like I was just mean to a dog. Okay, so like, obviously she has things in
I've
her
given that look.
where like all of my stuff feels like I'm pretty prepared, and then I'm trying to help with other things, but also like she's gonna have the final say on a lot of this stuff too. I just gotta show up a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there is so much more to planning a wedding than I ever realized, and like, it's just not really my strength or my forte. And it's like I was never really. I mean, obviously, I dreamed about getting married, but it was to me, the dream was more about finding the right guy to marry. Like I didn't dream about, you know, what it would look like and the flowers and the decorations. Like that's not really stuff that I think about. And it's definitely not stuff that Mitchell thinks about. So thank God for our wedding planner, because I don't know. I think we would just probably end up eloping if it wasn't for her.
That'll be a well-talented wedding guest. That's for sure. A full line. Let's talk about your CCMA's nomination. Where were you when you found out that you had locked in on a couple of different ones coming up in September?
I was actually writing. I was in the writing room. And so usually I kind of like check out from my phone, and then I got a few texts from people being like, oh my gosh, congrats. And I was like, for what? I just completely forgot. Like when I'm in creative mode, there is nothing else. Like I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm like totally in my own world. So I like got on my phone and I checked, and I'm just, you know, I'm so grateful. I'm always grateful to be nominated. The Album of the Year nomination is a really big one for me, because that was such a special record for me for so many reasons. It was, you know, kind of born out of like a really dark time with the pandemic and having everything be shut down and all my touring coming to a halt. And so, you know, I really kind of buckled down on trying to focus on the creative side of things and my songwriting. And I felt like I really dug deep for that record. And I also started evolving into, you know, and bringing in some new sounds and feels and textures into my music that felt really authentic to me. And it was also, you know, because of that, because I was feeling like I was starting to evolve and introduce some newer like vibes and sounds and everything, that's always a little bit nerve-wracking, because you know that your fans like you as this one thing and they like these songs and this record, and you're like, are they gonna like this part of me, like this new evolution of me? And I think I have the best fans in the world, because if there is anything I continue to learn with my fans, it's that what they love the most is when I'm being the most authentic. And so all I have to do is be me.
You find that gives you a little bit more permission to even more go into that kind of songwriting too into the future? Like obviously people like this, so maybe we can go even more deeper and see where things get into the trenches even more too, right?
Yes, absolutely. Which is, you know, we're actually just throwing around dates to get in the studio. I have a whole new batch of songs that I'm really, really excited about, you know, and again, I do feel like this is another like step up, another level up, another chapter and another evolution of Meghan Patrick as a songwriter and as an artist. You know, and I've been kind of giving some little sneak peeks and stuff on like TikTok and my social media and sharing with the fans. And it's been so rewarding, because it seems that they are on the same page as me, and they also are really excited about these new songs. So I'm just excited to get in and really produce these songs, because I've been just kind of sharing like demos, work tapes or whatever. So I'm really excited to take that next step of going into the studio and really digging in and honing in on how I want to produce them, and really making these songs, like getting them to exactly where I want them to be sonically. So I'm excited about that.
So you have all these things going on along with touring, and like, it's like we said, the floodgates have been open. Mentally, like, is it a little bit much, or is it exactly what you want at this specific moment? Because we took 2 years off, and I'm sure that's all you thought about was writing songs and getting in front of people. And now it's all happening, but it's happening so fast again. Like, did it take a little bit to kind of catch up to probably where you left off before the pandemic kind of hit in?
Honestly, I think I do best when I am really busy. I feel like I stay more focused and I'm more organized and like on top of things. It's like when I have a lot of idle time that I feel that it's harder for me to like stay focused. And honestly, I get really depressed when I'm not working, when I'm not on the road. And that was part of what was so difficult for me during the pandemic. I had all this free time and I felt really just kind of all over the place and not really focused. And I had a really hard time with just not feeling like I was moving forward. I hate feeling like I'm stagnant, you know? So I feel like, honestly, it was just like riding a bike, you know, getting back on the horse just felt really good. And I mean, obviously there are downsides that come to it. Like I said, probably the biggest one being Mitchell and I not getting a lot of time together and spending a lot of time away from home and my dogs and my friends and stuff. But like, I'm really, really happy to be back in that that space again. So yeah.
Well, we're happy that you're happy, and we're even more pumped that we get to see you on the stage at Big Valley, and then turning back around, and you're back in Edmonton later on in the month of August with it together again. And then you're right back in Alberta again for the CCMA. So you might just have to have a second home here. You and Mitch.
Honestly, I know. I'm just going to need to get a place there, I think.
Well, Meghan, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm so excited to see you back here in our neck of the woods, and just a huge congratulations for everything that you've had for this year, and we just wish you all the best moving forward.
Thank you. Well, I can't wait to see you guys at the show. All of the things. You'll be seeing lots of me.
I love that. Well, you take care, enjoy the day, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Awesome. Take care.